repeat the question.
No, he didn't even start yet. Yes, he can speak. Yes, please.
So no, my question is, at some point you are like a normal college student, and then you got into Krishna consciousness. Then you got the taste for Shastric studies, the way you are explaining today. So from 0 to at least the first 20%, how did you actually make that jump? And then how you sustain yourself to be where you are today? And the other teachers, you would like to develop some, let's say, a part of those.
Okay. So, yes, as you said, at some point I was just a college student, and now
He's walking through.
Mhm. There's only one person there. Basically, it happens at an ultimate level by the divine intervention, by the Lord's intervention. It happens at a human level. It also happens by one's own effort and the effort of other people around us. So in my case, as a college student, I got access to the audio lectures of Gauranga Prabhu and His Holiness Radhana Swami Maharaj. So I used to hear them. I have a little problem following the accent, foreign accent of so many speakers. I just couldn't understand. But these two devotees' lectures, I was able to follow very easily, both content-wise. I just could resonate with that content, especially Maharaj's classes. Content is very appealing to me, and accent also is very easy for me to follow. So that made it much easier. Yeah. So that's one thing. But as far as my effort is concerned, I genuinely felt some eagerness to read Gita Bhagavatam. I felt something. I found that it very logical. Not only the logic of the Shastra appealing to my intellect, but the message of the Shastra also impressed my heart. So that made things work for me. Still, I have a long, long way to go. I understand that. But still, when I'm reading Prabhupada's purports, I just could resonate with it. When I'm reading Gita Bhagavatam, CC, especially certain episodes really made a deep impact on my consciousness, on my mind, on my heart. So I could just move ahead in that direction. I felt really nourished by it. Yeah. Does it answer the question? I want more details. I can speak about life history also, but that's in short. In short, that's the answer.
Yes, so if you have to summarize 3 key points from the book which you end up writing, because you must have felt the need for that, and because you are a preacher of a preacher also. So if you can summarize those 3 points that you really think is the important point as the future that you could share. Think about.
There are multiple points because you asked for 3.
Yeah,
I'll speak the top 3 that come to my mind. So the first one definitely is humility. We have to be humble. An aspect of humility is gratitude. So we need to be grateful for receiving an opportunity to read Shastra, to hear Bhagavatam, oh, this is not needed. Prabhu is here. Zoom is not needed now.
No, there is another.
Okay. So when we are humble and grateful for the opportunity to read Gita, Bhagavatam, CC and all that, I think that I would say that is the first qualification to become a teacher. We need to be grateful to all the acharyas. We need to be humble enough to accept the teachings and imbibe those teachings. So that humility is the first qualification. That's about mood. As far as method is concerned, we should be very diligent in our study. So till now, I never read a book without making some notes. And I don't say that notes making is mandatory, but personally, I found it helpful. And I have seen several people who found it helpful. Now, here also I see many devotees making notes. Means something is inspiring, you immediately note it down so that we don't forget it. So that's the whole idea. So I see Bhagavatam, and in those days I didn't have a Bhagavatam set of my own. 2010, 11, 12, till 2014 I didn't have a Bhagavatam set of my own. I would borrow from library. I know this book will not be with me anymore. I have to give it back. So I'll keep the book and note down in my own notebook the most important points, my favorite shlokas and all that. I'll return it. I'll borrow the next volume, then I will do it. Okay. So that way, we also have that, what is that? We valued being in Bhagavatam, being with Bhagavatam. And because I have limited access to Bhagavatam set, that also made me note down points, make notes. And we had some small lockers of maybe this size, 2 feet, 2.5 feet width, maybe 2 feet height. That's the only box that is our bungalow. That's our bungalow. Yeah, that's the only possession. All possessions in that. I have 2-3 dhotis, right, bead bag, few books. That's all property. A toilet kit. That's all we have. Okay. So in that we can't fit a Bhagavatam set also. So that limited access also, and no laptops, no Kindles, no book Bhagavatam, no Kindle Bhagavatam, only notes Bhagavatam. Right, and person Bhagavatam is there. So we did like that. So notes making helped me a lot, and especially reading early morning helped me. In those days we had 5 o'clock Mangalarti in temple, Chapati, and our reporting time is at 4:20 a.m. If we go a little late, we will be given the reward of writing Hare Krishna Mahamantra 54 times. I wrote few times. Then one day I went late, and our in charge said, you should write 54 mantra Mahamantra 54 times. I said, okay, I'll write. And I continued to chant. He looked at me. Right? What does it mean? You have to write now. Oh, now? In my japa time, I'll write somewhere during the day. No. Then only you will come for Bangalarti tomorrow. Right? So I went in the middle of japa and wrote that 54 times. In that time, you can chant 5-6 rounds. Okay. And submitted. Then next day, a little more cautious. Anyways, so 4:20 is reporting time, 5 o'clock Mangalarti. Many people chant. But that 40 minutes, I did not chant. I would go to library, open Bhagavad Gita, read and write. That 40 minutes of study time in Brahma Muhurta is equivalent to 2-3 hours of study during the day. Just trust me. Or maybe 4-5 hours of study. Because that is very silent hour. You're fresh, just had a bath, just had some 6-7 hours of sleep. So that really made the content of the book flow into the hearts. So this getting up early in the morning, reading in Brahma Muhurta time, and also making notes, all this helped me as far as method is concerned. And if you go a little deeper, I would read every shloka. I didn't skip shloka. And I read systematically shloka by shloka, chapter by chapter. I didn't skip sections. Some were very austere to go through, but I did that austerity of going through the sections at least once. My favorite sections I revisited repeatedly, but some sections which are too much today, like cosmology, movements of sun, I read a couple of times. Okay, whatever I understood, I'm happy. Let me move ahead. It's like that. But one chapter, my God, I just couldn't move ahead. 10th canto, 87th chapter. That is Prayers of Personified Vedas. I began that chapter. I read couple of shlokas. I just couldn't move ahead. 87. Then I started 88th chapter. I read it completely. Then came back to 87. Read few more verses. I couldn't move ahead. Then went to 89th chapter. I finished it. Then came back to this shloka. 2-3 more shlokas. Then went to 90th chapter. I finished 10th canto. I entered 11th canto also. 11th canto, 3-4 chapters I finished. By the time I completed one reading of 10.87. After that one reading, till now I didn't touch it. But Subodhini, I had to touch it. I don't know what I will do. Subodhini attack jayega udhar. I think I'll stop there. And anyways, it's like too complicated for me to digest. And relatability is very less. Because some of the sections of Bhagavatam are very heavily philosophical. You need great sattva and great intellect to understand some of these topics. Right? But what I feel is, everything that you read need not make immediate sense to you. You may not be able to immediately relate with everything that you read. You read whatever you can manage to read. Whatever you understand, you just write it down. After 5 years, you read the same thing again. Although you have not touched it or looked at it for last 5 years, still your understanding of that particular shloka now is much better than it used to be 5 years back. You know what made the difference? Writing is one thing. Sadhana, seva. In these 5 years, we chanted 5 into 365 into 16 rounds. In these 5 years, we attended so many Mangalartis. We attended so many festivals. We did so many services to so many devotees. We received so many blessings from Guru, Krishna, Vaishnavas. So all that helps in Shastric understanding. So my understanding of Shastra is not just a product of my Swadhyaya. My understanding of Shastra is also a product of my sadhana, seva, sadachar, sangha. If I have good sadachar, I get blessings. And the blessings will help me assimilate Shastra better. Okay. So we have seen so many devotees who are not so well read in their scriptures. But their decision making is very precise, very mature. Their commitment to the path is unparalleled. Their service and the way they guide people is also exemplary. Their conduct is great. Why? Although they are not well read in Shastra, they did their sadhana nicely. They heard from Guru nicely. So we should never think that our sadhana, our swadhyaya is the only way of understanding Shastra. Reading Prabhupada's books in a systematic way, it's definitely important, but that's not the only way to understand Shastra. We have to read, but our behavior helps. Our sadachar helps. Our sadhana helps. If we chant our round sincerely, we'll understand Bhagavatam nicely. You may not find a logical connection there, but it works. Our sincere chanting helps in our studying also. Many times people who are little scholarly, they become restless in their chanting. They can't chant with focus. They just want to get rid of this, open the book, open the PPT. Sometimes it happens also. Some Vidyapit students, they have exam tomorrow. In one hand, they hold Bhagavatam book, beat by chanting, and then remembering shloka. Which is going inside, we don't know. But it is good. They're spending time with Krishna. But point is, we need to be prayerful. We should be committed to our services. Then our theoretical knowledge of Shastra will become practical realization. Seva is that circuit that takes the input of theoretical knowledge and gives the output of practical realization. Not just being with books. We need to serve devotees and assimilate things in a deeper manner. I hope that makes sense. So basically, in short, having the right mood plus following the right method. I put it in the book. Mood is one chapter, method is another chapter. Okay, so many tips as you can see, more elaborate answers. These are like few tips I just gave.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So continuation of this question. How do we go to the next step, which is Mananam Nitidhyas, like all this? We just not reading and going a step further where we assimilate it.
As far as
Mm.
Mananam, yes, ma'am. Please. You have,
Okay. So do we have to put extra effort or just the flow of the study itself is good enough? Because I have found in my case is that, I, prepare myself, study, but after some time, the tendency to reconcile everything from the beginning is very less. It gradually diminishes.
So there are two things. One is Vihangavalokana, second is Simhavalokana. Simhavalokana. Simhavalokana means Simha is lion. Avalokana means glance, gaze. So what does a lion do in the forest? The lion kills the enemies and then looks back. Anyone left? Or koi bachayega? Just lion just gazes back. Backward glance of a lion. That is called Simhavalokana. Following the footsteps of that lion, a Shastric student also, he reads Shastra, he reads one full chapter or one full book, one full section. And after reading, he will go back. Did I miss anything? How many of you, after reading one full chapter, just revisited the chapter and realized that you missed some point? Many times it happens, right? Oh, this point is there, I missed it, my God. However, attentively we read, we may miss something. Right? Even if we read, we cannot realize it in one reading. So, regularly revisiting what you have already read is called Simhavalokana. Then second is Vihangavalokana. Vihanga is bird. So, Avalokana means glance, bird's glance or bird's eye view. A bird is flying high in the sky. Okay. So, from there, the bird will see bigger picture. When you are flying in an airplane, you will see an entire locality. It's like Google Map.
Bird's eye.
Bird's eye view. When you are walking on the road, you will only see that road and few signals and couple of cars because your vision is restricted. When you go a little higher, you are seeing a bigger picture. Your eye capacity is less only, but you are seeing the highlights because you are zooming out. When you are zooming in, you will see one purport only, one shloka only. When you zoom out, you will see the overall structure of the book. That's what I keep doing in Subodhini. The first page of every chapter in Bhagavad Subodhini or Gita Subodhini or any Subodhini you take is a bird's eye view, entire glance of entire chapter. Even prayers also I keep doing that. I read prayer one by one, even I write also. Then I look back and divide that prayers into sections. Kunti Maharani prayer, first 3, it's just a formal praise of the Lord. Next 5 shlokas, reasons for Krishna's appearance. Then after that, appeal for more association. So like that, there are sections in Kunti's prayers, right? So I revisit and then try to get the overall structure. I sometimes I club 2 shlokas, 3 shlokas in Subodhini if you have seen. So when you get an overview of the entire chapter or section, so that gives you the overall flow and structure of the chapter. Otherwise, we may get lost in details. We may not retain the whole thing. Architect, what does he do? He'll have the entire building plan that has 25 floors or whatever. He has entire plan in his mind. But now, for a mestri or mason, he'll be working on one room or one corner, one wall only. He cannot get a bigger picture. So we need to have that bigger picture. So that getting that bigger picture or skeleton is called Vihangavalokana. So we keep doing these 2 things. This is part of Mananam. So Nididhyasanam is introspection, contemplation. So Mananam is revisiting what you have already read, revising, revisiting, ruminating. That is Mananam. But Nididhyasana means contemplating. You contemplate very deeply on the subject. You regularly revisit it and read between lines, but in line with parampara. Sometimes you read one purport of Prabhupada or one shloka by Sukadeva Goswami. In that, the shloka will reveal much more than what is written there, depending on your own experience, because you are reflecting. Revision is one level, reflection is another level. You deeply introspect, contemplate on it, revisit it. Now 4-line shloka is there. How come Prabhupada is writing 4-page purport for it? 4-line shloka, 4-page purport. It doesn't make much sense, right? But all these 4 pages are being extracted from the 4 lines only. That is Prabhupada's Nididhyasanam. He's introspecting, he's expanding it. Okay. So let us also introspect. For example, you're reading Dhruva Maharaj's pastime. Morning we are discussing Dhruva pastime, right? After that, you start reflecting on it. Oh, Dhruva did like this. Prahalad also did something similar. So there are parallels between Dhruva's pastime and Prahalad's pastime. There are parallels between Dhruva's pastime and maybe Narada Muni's past life. So Narada Muni in his past life, as son of maid servant, he was meditating on the Lord. He was able to see the Lord. He opened his eyes. He was unable to see the Lord. Again, he tried to meditate, but he lost the vision of the Lord. Something similar happened to Prahalad also. Not Prahalad, our Dhruva also. He was meditating on the Lord, he could not see the Lord suddenly. Then he opened the eyes, the Lord was there. Okay, he could see. So you can just kind of identify similarities between 2 pastimes or 2 shlokas, concepts, 2 books, get more Shastric connections. So you read Vyavasayatmaka Buddhi shloka. Oh, very nice. An example? Prabhupada may not give an example there. Krishna definitely doesn't give an example. Vyavasayatmaka Buddhi, Prabhupada himself is an example. Hanumanji is an example. Like that, you just reflect, go deep. Don't just restrict your thought process or understanding only to the thing that is written there. You can read between lines in line with the Parampara's teachings. That is called Nididhyasana. So Maranam, Nididhyasana. Maranam has Samhavalokana and Vihangavalokana. Nididhyasanam, sky is the limit. So when we bring all of them together, we'll get a more holistic and wholesome experience of Shastric study. Right? We should go deep.
Just continuation. One. So when we read Srila Goswami, he says that we need to do Smaranam. Right? So is this a part of Smaranam or?
Yeah, Smaranam. You can call it Smaranam.
We can go.
How much time you spend for actual reading versus for
It depends on the topic. There is no allocation of time as such. Okay, this is my Nididhyasanam time. This is my Maranam time. It may not work like that. You just read. You feel like revisiting what you have already read. That is Maranam time. It just mixes. Your Pathanam, Maranam, Nididhyasanam are just mixing. Right? In my notes, the personal notes, what I do is, I keep taking down notes. And suddenly I just flip the pages back. Okay, maybe I'll put some boxes here. I'll divide this section like this. So I just do some Maranam there. And sometimes I stop Patanam completely. When I'm traveling, I just open the book, just do Maranam only. Nididhyasanam is something that happens very spontaneously on its own. Some thought comes. Then I take a different color pen and write it there. These are my thoughts, not in the book. Okay, so extra, you just write somewhere. So yeah, it has to happen organically and spontaneously. Maranam, you can allocate time, probably. But Nididhyasanam just happens on its own. Or sometimes you may even sit and reflect. You can allocate time, not an issue. But generally it happens.
It is not a habit, it is one reading time and then some thought on how we can present it. But besides that, not a lot of contemplation. Because so many things in the day.
I would say there's a very, very easy and effective way of converting our Pathanam into Nididhyasanam and Maranam. That is through Kirtanam. Kirtanam means you share what you have studied with another devotee. While you are sharing, while you are speaking what you have studied, automatically you will do Maranam. You will do Nididhyasanam. Okay. So first is Shravanam. You hear from a teacher. Then go and do Pathanam. Study on your own. Then next is that Maranam and Nididhyasanam. That you can do on your own, but these two will automatically happen when you are doing Kirtana. These are total 5 stages of Swadhyaya, five aspects of Swadhyaya. Sravanam, Pathanam, Maranam, Nididhyasanam, and Kirtanam. Okay.
So you suggest within, among the teachers group, we
Yes.
should have some.
Yeah, share.
Regular
There's some
gatherings.
informal discussion. Don't even make it formal also. Don't even wait for that formal gathering.
Yeah.
You have read today something. So tomorrow during breakfast, discuss with your friends, with your family members, with your daughter, with your sister, with your brother, with your friend. You are driving somebody.
Yeah.
Then you just share what you have studied.
Yeah, I
Just-
initiated this almost 6 months ago. I sent a message in the group. Nobody responded.
Yeah, we have to take initiative.
Yeah.
See, generally, when you make things official and formal, that kind of creates a pressure. But if you informally do it, that gives pleasure.
Yeah.
Pressure or pleasure, you decide. Right? So make it more pleasurable activity, make it more organic, make it your second nature. You may not do it with everybody, but you can have few friends. I keep doing it. I have my neighbor. I just go to him. I'll ask some question. He'll ask some question. And then we discuss something for 15-20 minutes. While Prasadam, we'll just discuss something and then move ahead with our own thing. And it can be anybody. You can have random, you don't have a Nididhyasanam Maranam partner. Official. Right? You can randomly do it with anybody.
Yeah.
No, I'm traveling. I shared my reflections with him. Other day I shared my reflections with Prabhuji while driving. So just keep sharing your appreciation for Dhruva's pastime or Prahlad's pastime or Ambarish's pastime or some pastime of Krishna. Share it randomly with anyone. Sometimes I share with kids, sometimes with teens, sometimes with co-brahmacharis, sometimes with anybody. Okay, sometimes with totally newcomer. So while sharing your understanding, you will understand it better. You'll realize it better. You'll make it your own. In your eye. Exactly. Bodhayantah parasparam. Kathayantasya mam nityam. Yes. Parasparana kathanam. Any other? How much time we have? 10-15.
Nobody is asking, then I will. Maybe is it covered? Like how we memorize the verses?
Oh.
Yesterday we discussed.
Sir,
I think all your questions are there in the book, Prabhu. I would recommend you can just go to the book.
yeah.
The Art of Studying and Teaching Scriptures. Fourth chapter is about memorizing shlokas. And again, I never tried to memorize a single shloka till now in life. I never made it like a practice as such. I would read the Shastra. While I'm reading in my sequential reading, I encounter some shloka. It somehow hits me. The meaning is very appealing to my heart. Or the words and the choice of words by Vyasadeva is really attractive to my heart in some way. I don't know much of Sanskrit grammar or chandas and all, but some element of that shloka attracts me. Generally the meaning. I find the meaning very profound, very practical. Or it's describing the qualities of Krishna, beauty of Krishna, somehow it just enchants. So, and naturally I repeatedly revisit it. Repeatedly I feel like reading it. So when you repeatedly revisit the shloka, it sits in your memory. Okay. If you want exactly a method kind of thing, algorithm, I would say you allocate some time. Every day morning 7 o'clock. You can recite your favorite shlokas. Select some 10 important shlokas from Bhagavad Gita. Morning 7 to 7:10. Every day 10 minutes I will allocate this time for my shloka memorization. Take these 10 shlokas. Each shloka you will need at hardly 10 seconds to recite. These 10 shlokas you can recite in 100 seconds. In 10 minutes you may recite it 3-4 times. So 7 a.m. to 7:10 a.m. recite these 10 shlokas in a sequence 3 times or 4 times depending on the pace of your recitation. 10 minutes. Keep doing it. Today if I have done 3 times, tomorrow you can do it 4 times also. Later you can do 5 times also because your pace increases. You become more and more familiar with the pronunciation. In 10 days or 1 week or maybe 2 weeks, all the 10 shlokas in the same sequence will sit into your memory. In Vidyapita, I keep doing that. All students have to recite slokas. There is Bhagavad Ratnamala, small books, right? So we distribute these books to the students. So they will read. So first canto is happening now in Bhakti Vaibhav syllabus. So it may happen for 1 month. 1 month, all the key shlokas of first canto, they will sit and recite for 15 minutes. 2 times or 3 times, whatever. So by the end of first canto, most of the slokas will sit in their memory in particular sequence also. We never sat to memorize Narsingh Arti. Every day attend Mangal Arti. You sing Narsingh Arti, either in chorus or lead, it will sit in your memory, right? So, and Prabhupada gives this recommendation. You hear recordings of sloka recitations and it sits in your memory. Keep hearing. All the songs of Bollywood, Tollywood, Mollywood, Bollywood. we don't have songbooks, right? We have Vaishnav songbook. We never had Tollywood songbook. But we remember so many Tollywood songs, right? Anyone here from Andhra? Andhra people are so much into movie songs. Okay, they remember so many songs. I still remember so many Telugu movie songs, right? Because either we like their like the tune or the lyrics or the hero or the music director or the lyric writer. So that we repeatedly recite them. Involuntarily, while taking bath, we sing a movie song. Now you do that with Bhagavatam shlokas. Involuntarily, while taking shower, you recite the shlokas. Mukund Mala Stotra you recite. Brahma Samhita you recite. Upadeshamrita you recite. Whatever sticks to your memory. And you will relish it. That love, the relish that you have will retain in your memory. Many shlokas are there, very important shlokas. I don't remember them because somehow I didn't make the connect. Yeah. Connection is important.
Yesterday I was saying in your class that you were relishing, and then in the past also, you were relishing the slokas.
Going to a different zone.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, when we did like power of polygamy, we had those points many times, but when you actually quote as words, it makes more authoritative. It's not that we are manufacturing something. You give some content to the audience. Like this is from Shastra. There is a verse like this, right? You answered partly the question. So you didn't study formally Sanskrit or anything to understand.
No.
But do you now at this time do you understand you did formally study? Or?
No, I never studied Sanskrit, and I will never study also. I never felt the need to become familiar with the language to relish the content. Basically, content is more important. Intent is more important. Language, a detail. It is my preference. Others, they may prefer. I respect if someone wants to understand Sanskrit, spend the time to get familiar with the language. All respects to them. But my personal preference is I don't have time or taste for it.
You just remember the word to word.
Whatever I read, whatever I understand, that's sufficient. Meaning is more important. And I like to recite the shloka, that's sufficient. I'm okay. Sorry. Yeah.
So if you are not Sanskrit wise, if you are not understanding everything, when you write something like Bhagavatam, how do you relate what you what is the actual Sanskrit?
That's what. Like it's my way of doing it. If you write Bhagavad Pravaha, you may emphasize something else. All the lessons that I have highlighted are something that more personal to my heart. Okay, but there may be 100 other different lessons. But why I chose this lesson only? It's my preference. So, yeah, that's what I would say. More than
there may be a lot more.
I felt like this is the most condensed version of it. This is how it is.
So the question is that you must have heard in Andhra the famous pravachan. They actually take a word, Sanskrit word, and they give different meanings like Atma. They say if you change this, it will happen. It attracts audience also. It doesn't change the meaning much, but it also gives a different perspective. So That's why I'm asking, like, do you go that deep into it?
No. Basically, some verses have multiple meanings. I go through that to relish, not to analyze. Because grammatical analysis will appeal the intelligence of audience, but devotional analysis will appeal the heart. I prefer the second one. First one has its relevance in scholarly circles, but I don't have so much taste for it. Okay, this is another meaning, there is another meaning. Okay, fine. Why do you need to know 10 other meanings of this? Unless they are highlighting some devotional angles, you can relish it this way also, that way also. If they are highlighting devotional perspectives, I get excited. If they are just analytical perspectives, just knowledge only, grammatical perspectives only, I'm not that excited. Even Vishwanath Thakur writes so much of grammatical analysis of the shlokas. I sometimes just skip it. Locative case, this case, that case, he would write. I sometimes skip that portion and then focus only on the devotional lesson part of it.
So on the notes, right? I make a lot of notes, but my notes over time become so overwhelming
Yes,
that I myself cannot understand.
of course.
So have you figured out the structure which has really worked for you?
I would say taking notes also is for your absorption. We must have had so many festival darshans of Radha Nilmadhav. Do you remember 3 years back on Nityananda Trayodasi Day, what was the color of Gaurnita's dress? Okay. Do you remember the menu of the feast on Radhashtami Day? The menu, all items that you have. Or do you remember the color of the garlands yesterday? The deities, unless you have made it. Even if you have made it, you will forget it. So we read, we see the deities, we nourish ourselves. And the nourishment has sustained us till now. We eat food that nourish the body. That's where we are living. We may not remember the menu that we took 10 days back, but because 10 days back I ate, 9 days back I ate, 8 days back I ate, I am still alive. If last 10 days I have not eaten anything, I would not be living today. But 10 days I ate, although I don't remember what I ate, but it nourished me. Similarly, Nityam Bhagavat Seva, let us hear Bhagavatam every day. That is that day's nourishment for us, the soul. We are feeding the body, let's feed the soul also. And it nourishes the soul, whether we remember exactly what we read or not, nourishment has happened. So many times devotees say that I read so much, I write so much notes, I may not even revisit the notes. But making that notes that day made you more attentive in the class. That nourished you. You may not revisit the notes for the next 10 years. After 10 years, if you see, you may not relate with it also. That's okay. But 10 years back, you attentively heard and made notes sincerely that nourished you, and that's why you are still around. I may forget. I have made diaries and diaries of notes. But I don't know where are they also sometimes. Some notes I preserved. Some regular class notes, they are somewhere I don't recollect. My mother says, 15 years back, the notes that you have taken in school, I found it here. Should I keep it? I said, keep it with you only. Right? She was doing, I don't have to revisit now. So sometimes we are in the present. We may not recollect the past always. But because we had a nourishing past, we are still inspired to practice bhakti in the present. That's the point.
So, one question. So probably
10:29. Is it fine?
Yes, so
I'm okay.
analogies, power of analogies, very powerful. When Prabhupada gives analogies, Maharaj as a Prabhu is very useful. Is there a comparison of analogies by any Prabhus and Maharaj?
At the end of every Subodhini, every single volume of Subodhini, I have given analogies of that particular volume. First canto Subodhini, all first canto analysis are at one place.
Okay.
Second canto at one place. Every Subodhini you see the appendix, you'll get all the list of analysis from purports and translations also. Yes, please.
Good question.
Yeah, please.
So what is the correlationship between, say, personal character development of the preacher and effectiveness of the preaching? Is there any?
There is great correlation between these two. They both should go hand in hand. Without personal character, the preaching cannot be effective. Because people won't just listen the class. They will observe you as a person. They'll get our demeanor. If we are not naturally humble, not naturally devoted, we cannot impress them with our words in the mic only. They will hear the words in the mic. We should not think that, okay, this is this personality. They will see the person also in front. So I think there may be some shortcomings when we are sadhakas, but at intent level, if there is sincerity, if there is a sincere desire to serve the Lord and imbibe Vaishnava qualities, that sincere intent is visible in our demeanor. That will inspire people. Prabhupada impressed people not just with his lectures, eloquent lectures. Prabhupada impressed people with his kind behavior. So personal conduct has a very, very great relevance in effectiveness of preaching. There are some people who may not have great vocabulary, great English, stylish accent, beautiful PPT, technology. They may not have, but they are quite effective in preaching because of their purity. Prabhupada says purity is the force. Technology has its role. You can utilize all these external faculties, facilities to make the preaching a little more effective. But ultimately, purity is the force.
Students end up respecting the teachers by default, that's the process. That can also push the ego of the teacher.
Yes, definitely.
But you watch out for that as a teacher.
Therefore, we have to hear. Sometimes preachers, they speak, they don't hear. They have to hear when others are speaking. They have to genuinely relish Hari Katha spoken by other speakers also. That's why regular Bhagavatam attendance is important. Not just attending from Vyasasana. Attending in front of Vyasasana. I did Bhagavatam class. Okay. Who gave? I only gave. That can be there, but of course, we are busy, that's a different thing. We should not judge people who may not be seen in Bhagavatam class when they have genuine reasons. But we should hear as much as possible. We should also hear from other speakers. Okay. If it's not possible to practically sit in Bhagavatam class, temple hall and attend, at least hear the recordings once in a while. Keep some weekly quota, 1 hour, 2 hours, something like that. So we should hear. Otherwise, we think we know everything. But if we hear from other devotees, we will understand how much they understood Krishna. That will increase our appreciation for the devotees. Okay, then that will make us humble also. Sometimes we may know more than them, but the point, in my personal case, I have seen the point some speaker has made at certain point just hit me, impressed my heart so much that I got an answer for some question that I'm having, that it kind of addressed my current situation and made me a little more relieved and detached from my confusion, right? I know that point, but I had to hear that point from him in certain way that just made me very light. So it happens when you sincerely hear, right? It's not the speaker who is speaking, it's Krishna who is speaking through the speaker, right? So therefore, when we are preaching or teaching, students may respect us. Some students don't respect us also. That's good for us. Okay. So, dekhte isko kitna aata hai. People may ask questions in that mood also. Right? They may challenge also. They may say, oh, it doesn't make much sense. That's okay, no problem. So that we can be humble also. But point is, we should hear, not just speak.
So just one last follow-up to that. Usually we hear from seniors, our definition of seniors is like, monks, Maharajas, but we hardly hear from each other. We all are walking around each other in dhotis, we do not know who is where.
Mm.
And as a result, we are not able to appreciate each other's devotional qualities so much. But we are mostly serving with hands.
Mm.
We are not listening from each other. So I think 10-15 years back, we will take the Bhakti Vaibhav, we would take turns in presenting the Bhagavatam, and others would hear. That formula really was effective. I don't see that in the current law. I'm missing something.
That's why all the building relationships, tackling distresses, that's the main point I was trying to make. Let's sit together in informal gathering, one-to-one, personal conversation, let's bring in Krishna Katha. That's what is happening in Vrindavan, Prabhu. In Vrindavan, nobody is holding pravachans. But every Brajavasi is a speaker of Harikatha. Even a casual conversation is Krishna Katha. Even gossip in Vrindavan is glory of Krishna. Right? Two gopis come and discuss with each other. See, Krishna came to my house, he broke this pot in this way, this Harikatha. A casual conversation. If we can bring in that culture of discussing about Krishna in our private conversations without any official gatherings, that will nourish us a lot. That's why I didn't want to give a class. Okay, I could have spoken all this, but because you are asking and I'm answering, and you are sharing your reflections, like your experiences, so this is more nourishing and you can retain it more. If I just give one didactic class without you speaking anything, okay, it has its own flavor, but this is more engaging, right? So that's a paraspara anukathanam. As you said, machita madgata pranabodhayanta parasparam. So that has its great efficacy in bringing us closer to Krishna. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, how many Pandal programs did Mahaprabhu give? But how much? Zero. Practically zero. How many Pandal programs did Sanatana Goswami give? How many Zoom classes did Rupa Goswami give? Right? How many Bhagavatam pravachans did he give? How many YouTube videos they have? He said for Rupa Goswami video. You will not find a single video. Right? But they did unlimited Harikatha in their private circles. Mahaprabhu, Rupa Goswami, two people. They would sit together and discuss Harikatha. Ramananda Rai and Mahaprabhu. 10 days, 10 nights. They will sit together on the bank of Godavari and discuss Harikatha. No mic. Nobody recorded it. There's no Zoom. Okay, nobody edited the video, putting some montages here and there, and then putting some captions. What are that hashtags between? Nothing like that. They are just discussing Harikatha. Okay. So nowadays, sometimes even if we are speaking Harikatha, it's more in terms of getting views and likes and comments than actual absorption. Sometimes it happens like that. In that it doesn't nourish the soul. Now this informal gathering we are having, it nourishes the that ego. Okay, that's effective tools of preaching. To that degree, we should appreciate them, but we should not deprive ourselves of the satisfaction of glorifying Krishna in front of another devotee without any agenda. No agenda of recording. No agenda of this or that. Just discuss and relish Harikatha. Right? When I have made hundreds and thousands of PPTs, literally. But I keep aside PPT, keep aside everything, just sit and discuss Harikatha. I feel very happy and very nourished. Free flow. Whatever comes. When of course we should not waste people's time by giving unprepared classes. But point is, when you just speak from your heart, it touches the heart of other person. When you speak from intellect, that reaches the intellect of person. When you speak eloquently with a sweet voice and nice accent, and that will impress the ears of the person. You want to impress ears or intellect or heart? You decide. So let our glorification of Krishna be heartfelt, to reach out to the hearts of people. Thank you. We had some questions on.
No, you got to chat.
Yeah.
Every person will chat.